everybody. Have you heard? It is easy to grow your garden herbs. Frankie Flowers is here. You're not going to believe this. These were inside some 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And they were standing up and they look so beautiful.
Yeah.
10 minutes under the sun, Frankie. Look what happened.
Yeah, so those are already harvested herbs that are there. And we're going to talk a little bit about herbs because this year it looked like everybody was out there for the vegetable garden and as well as herbs. So there's so many new people out there growing their herbs for the first time.
Yeah.
They're a great potted plant, great in the garden itself. But you can see that if you are harvesting them and keeping them out on a hot, sunny day, you can see how they can just wilt. And those are just sitting in water. The key is, first and foremost, when you're watering your herb garden, the best time to do that in the morning. As well, you're going to find that the most flavorful herbs will be harvested when the sun is just coming up in the morning.
Oh.
There's been some studies that have been shown that's where the most flavor pungency will be.
Okay.
And then the other part too is you can see these are some herbs that I just harvested from my tower basil. I think we do have some pictures as well of my home garden as well.
Smells so
and
good.
with the basil right now, I have so much basil in this heat that's just popping off. And even if you don't need the herbs, I need you to harvest the herbs. So there's a look at some of my home garden.
Oh, wow.
That's a new variety of tower basil. And you can see what I'm pointing to right there is the flower. So the key is, even though the flower can be really pretty, and I know sometimes this can be used as a garnish on the side of a plate, but as soon as we see a herb that's going to go into bloom like this, all it's going to do is put most of its energy up into that bloom. So even if we don't need basil at that time, what we want to do is we want to go down and we want to give it a little bit of a prune, and I'm just going to use my fingers for this and then use the knife.
Can you use scissors too?
You can use scissors. We got scissors right here, just for the same reason, and boom. You can see by pruning that, it's going to flush new growth, and we're pruning that right above those nodes, and what will happen is you can see this is from some of my old herbs. That's my old herb garden. So you can see that's where I pruned a few weeks ago. And then right underneath it came another node to fill that up, and it's going to start to bush that up. So you can see with this herb itself right now, the reason why it was so lanky was it's sitting in a tray, but by pruning, you can see how all of a sudden you'll start to break that plant out, and you'll get a bushier, fuller plant, and a fresher plant overall.
I made that mistake, Frankie, and it made the whole plant yellow because of the flowers. So you're saying
flowers,
you can eat, if you prune it when it's fresh, you're saying you can eat these flower parts?
So generally the flowers don't taste that good, but you can do them. But often what I like to do with the flowers is on the side of your dinner. So just as a garnish, you just put that right there, and as soon as you put that on the side of the plate, people think you're a chef. They think you know what you're doing. They're like, wow, you're quite foo-foo. The same thing goes along with different types of herbs as well. That's stevia.
Oh,
so you can see,
on.
Yeah, you want to take a little taste there? We got
now, does this grow like a weed?
Stevia is a taller growing plant, but it's really important for you to continually harvest. I can't really stress how important this is. Even with parsley that you can see that's over there, the parsley that's falling down right now because it's a little bit, was harvested when it was a little bit too warm. So what do we do to keep these herbs? So now we got a whole whack of herbs. So I have a whole bunch of basil like this. I can either take all these, pull the leaves off, put it in my blender, mince it, and then freeze them into cubes. So if you want to do that,
pesto.
But also you can put those cubes in your water. I know that Andrew loves to put basil, lemon into his water as well. Basil does have some medicinal values overall.
Or mint.
The other part, mint as well. Mint is super important. If you're growing mint for the first time, make sure it's not in the garden. Make sure it's in a container. It's a very invasive plant that will grow all over. If it was one that you planted in the garden, take it out right now. And make sure that you're not doing that. So for storing these, what we could do is I could just take a paper towel, wrap the base of these, put them in the refrigerator, or we can just put them in the house.
A wet paper towel?
A wet paper towel around the base of the root system, just like that, and then all around the base where we just cut, and then we're just going to tie an elastic band, and those will stay for up to 5 days in your refrigerator. Or what you do is just in a shaded space, you can see how these guys here, they're already been pre-cut and they're in water. They'll just sit on your counter in water. So often what I do is I go out in the morning, I'll harvest a bunch of basil, I'll just leave it on my counter, I'll put it in my salads, I'll put it in my pasta, I'll use it with my caprese salad, I'll use it with the parsley as well, do that in my tabbouleh.
On fish. Now, do you change the water every day?
The more frequent you're going to change the water, the longer it will last for you overall. So,
and you wouldn't put this in the fridge. You keep it at room temperature with the water.
I would just keep it in indirect light, so in a shaded space, on the counter, just like that. It'll last just as long as if it's in the refrigerator. Sometimes by the herbs being stacked on top of each other, you'll start to get rot, especially on a hot, humid day like today. So the key is morning harvest, continually harvest, because we don't want them to set flower and or seed. And if right now your cilantro has bolted, cilantro in the garden is a cooler temperature plant. Everybody's cilantro is bolted, so don't feel so bad. That means it's gone to seed. All of a sudden you have this beautiful cilantro and it just went boop, 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 boop. And now it's going to seed. and that cilantro is no good anymore. So I would either do a new sowing in late August so that you have some fall crop, or what you do is just buy your cilantro right now.
This is also delicious. I can't even tell you, by the way. And
it's very
what's
pungent.
Crass? You forgot to tell us about crass.
Oh, so what I've been growing and testing this year is I've been just testing some different fertilizers. So I've been testing this year some crickets, and it's cricket frass. So that's actually the byproduct of a cricket.
I just ate some frass?
No, but it's not. It's the plants we're growing that very calcium enriched. So far, things are going good. I'm always testing, always trying to figure out what's working.
I like it.
That's a brand new variety of basil too, called Tower Basil. It's very pungent,
beautiful,
very easy to grow. The one that you saw pictures in my garden as well. So I'm always out there. And next week I will be going to the flower trials as well to go see some new flower varieties.
I'm excited about this frass. I can't remember. Why is it
cricket
frass? Why frass?
I don't know, but I'll find out why it's called frass.
It sounds like an eco-friendly
I think it comes out of the back of the...
Okay, let's drill into something. We'll be back with more BT.
Sounds like
right
frass.
After the sass.